Today, we are going to discuss IELTS listening module. In this IELTS listening module, last time I told you that whenever you appear for any IELTS exam, there are basically three modules: listening, reading, and writing. So in listening, there are further subsections. Means in listening paper, you'll get to listen to a particular recording, and along with listening you have to solve those questions. Means you need to fill in the forms or MCQs, right? And in this IELTS listening, there's a category. There is a very important category known as maps and planning. In maps and planning, students generally face difficulties, and the probability of the wrong question is more in this section. So today I designed certain tips, strategies, so that you can solve those questions easily in a time zone manner. You may not see the presentation because there are certain watermarks in my previous presentation, because this software that I'm using right now may not work properly when I'll upload this presentation on my YouTube channel. So please excuse me for this, but you need to listen to my voice. And apart from that, I'll try to share a link of my presentation so that you can download this presentation and listen to it later. So let's start with the maps and planning. In maps and planning, there are basically two types of questions. Question may come from maps, or they may come from plan. Means you may be given a map of a particular location, then you need to identify where those items are there on the given location after listening to that audio. And in plan, you would get to see a plan about a particular municipality or any panchayat or any county, and then you need to answer things in a proper sequence, right? So first thing you need to know that whether it's a maps type of question or a planning type of question. This is the first thing that you need to do whenever you get to see this maps and planning question. So tip number 2 says read instruction carefully. It's a very important tip. For example, when it is written that write the correct letter from A to I, next to question 14 to 20. That means you need to write a letter to each word in the answer list. You need not to write a whole word. You need to write a letter only. That's a number one. Uh, Number two tip that you need to focus, that is read instruction carefully. Very important. Similarly, there may be a second sort of question. Choose 5 answers from the box and the correct letters next to question 15 to 30. That means you need to write answers in the plan itself, because here you need to choose correct letters. Means you need to choose a word. Here you cannot write on A, B, or C. Here you have to write a proper word in the given blank. So till now I told you two tips. Tip number one, you need to identify the type of question in maps and planning. And the number two tip is we have to read instruction carefully. It's a very important tip. Students generally commit mistakes in this section. I mean, in this part of this maps and planning. Number three is read the label and title. That's a very important thing. For example, there's a sample proposed for a marriage bill in a parliament. Here, once you read the label and title, you'll get a basic idea that this is something about parliament or about marriage proposal in a parliament. So you need to familiarize yourself with this title. Once you familiarize with your title, herein you'll get to see types of different vocab that can come. Why I'm telling you, you need to read the label and title and get yourself familiarized with it, because in that way you can predict the answer by seeing the context of the plan. For example, let's say they may talk about room, so in that given map you have to find location of different rooms or a pond, right, or a building, etc. So tip number three says you have to read the label and title. Once you read the label and title, you'll get a basic idea. All right. So let's move to tip number three. It's very important. Tip number three says visualize yourself. Means whenever you been given a plan and you need to identify different locations on the plan, once you start listening to the recording, at that point of time you need to be in the plan. Means you have to visualize yourself. You need to use your creative faculties of your mind that you are in that given location, and whatever direction you are getting, you're moving accordingly. In that way, if you visualize yourself properly, it would be very easy for you to arrive on answers. It's a very important trick. You have to be in that situation. You have to feel the situation, right? So let's move to next step. As answers would be in order. Means you'll get to see answer of question number 11 first, then 12. If in case you get to see the answer of question number 12, that means you have to stop focusing on question number 11. Move on. Move your focus towards question number 13, because question number 11 has gone. You just saw question number 12 answer, and still you just try. If you just try to focus on question number first, that's a futile exercise. That means you're killing your time. Quickly move to question number 13 and start focusing for the answer. The beauty of this is that answers would be in a proper order. That's the best part of it. Now there's a vocabulary in maps and planning questions. You have to familiarize yourself with the vocabulary of this question. There are basically two types of vocabs that can come. Number one is locations, and number two is directions. A location means where something is in a relation to other. For example, near to court, and next to hostel, in front of canteen, or beside the canteen. That's a location. And direction means the position where someone moves or faces. For example, you have to listen for turn right, then you have to turn right, turn left, south, northeast. Very important to familiarize yourself with the given vocabulary of this section, maps and planning question. Because once you familiarize yourself, it would be very easy for you to solve these sort of questions, right? Let's move to the next tip, synonyms and paraphrasing. That's a very important thing. For example, in a question, in a recording, like in a question, you may see a word called uh, Almira, and when you listen to a particular recording, you'll get to remember. You'll try to listen for the word Almira, but here the examiner will trick you by paraphrasing it. Instead of Almira, he'll use a place where you keep your wardrobe. That's a paraphrase, or a synonym can be used. So don't get confused once you don't find the exact word in the recording. You have to identify the paraphrase or a synonym. Once you see the particular question, you have to uh, train your mind that yes, if in case I get an exact word, it would be easy for me. But at the same time, I have to look for synonyms and paraphrasing sort of phrases. So that's a signal which you have to give to your mind. Once you do that, it will be very easy. And the last tip is never ever leave any question blank. If you won't find any time to answer the given question or to study in detail about the question, take an educated guess. But don't leave the question. Once you take educated guess, there is a probability of 50-50. If you take, let's say, five question by giving you answer five question through your educated guess, out of five, maybe three can be right. But if you leave all those five which you don't know, that means you are not giving yourself a chance to for the right answer. So that's all about IELTS listening, maps, and planning questions. I mean tips and strategies. Those students who know the value of these tips, they'll understand what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I know few of my subscribers they may not understand properly what I'm talking about because they might have not heard this IELTS exam. Very few people would be knowing it, but maybe for the future reference, those who are going to be my future subscribers, for them, I want to keep a stock of videos so that it would be easy uh, to use those videos for better results in the exam. Thank you so much for your time, and please do like and subscribe. And for next 10 days, I'll be putting more videos towards IELTS exam. In IELTS listening, I'll add more videos for different types of questions. Then after IELTS listening, we shall shift towards IELTS reading. It's a very important section. Then in the end, we'll go for we shall go for this IELTS writing. Thank you once again. Thank you. Let's call it a day.